Many teachers, myself included, in trying to have whole group conversations, sometimes we notice that some students are not participating as actively as we would like them to, and are either actively or passively disengaging from the conversations that we want students to be having around math. So I have been thinking about shifting that idea of student participation from just viewing it as a participation issue to viewing it as an issue of ownership and participation in the community. And if I can see the issue as one of how are students feeling ownership over their ideas and the community, and participation as a community member, and then I think a little bit differently about the idea of student participation. So some tips that I've been using lately for having more students feel agency and ownership of the math community is, one is to get an idea of who is participating in math conversations. Something I do is to just set up a grid with each student's name in one box, and to ask someone in your school, a coach or another teacher, to come in and just write down everything that's being said in whatever conversation you're having. And it's great if you can do this a few times to start to notice some patterns, but even one time will give you a lot of information. And then to reflect on the notes about what different students have said, how many people are participating, what kind of participation you're getting. Is there someone who is always repeating other kids' ideas and never adding original ideas, or someone who only participates non-verbally and not verbally? You can start to see patterns to think about. So another tip, once you have an idea of who's participating and how they're participating, is to think about the talk moves that you're making as a teacher and trying to work to make them as inclusive as you can, and to think about how your talk is inviting approximations for students to feel comfortable knowing or thinking about part of the answer, but or part of a strategy, but not having a fully completed idea. So something that I'll ask is, when I'm asking a student to repeat another student's idea, because we know that's a powerful way for students to start hearing each other and understanding each other's ideas, I might ask, what part of her idea did you understand? Or can you tell me a little bit about some of what so-and-so said? So that they're able to add part of an idea, but it doesn't have to be a fully formed idea. Or I'll ask, what are you starting to think about now? Or what strategy did you start to do? Even if you didn't get to an answer, or you didn't get all the way through your thought, what are you starting to think about? So then students feel like they don't have to have the correct answer, or they don't have to have a fully formed thought, but they can have part of an idea. Also allowing students and coming up with signals in your class for nonverbal participation, whether it's a symbol of, I agree, or I'm thinking that too, or a thumbs up or a thumbs down for agreeing and disagreeing, some way to kind of have students who are hesitant or who are actively resistant to participating start to participate in small ways, and then trying to build off of those. Another tip is to think about the space in your classroom. I think that they're thinking about space that's conducive to community talk is probably one of the most important things that we can do for increasing participation and a feeling of community in our classrooms. And so it's really important to set up a classroom where there is a large meeting space, which certainly could be challenging in classrooms. It's been challenging in my own classroom, but making that a priority is important, and then the rest of how you fit the other things in the class kind of comes in. But having space where you can sit in a circle sometimes, where students can talk directly to each other and look at each other and not always have it be focused on the teacher is really important, where there's nothing in the middle to block being able to see each other. And then having there also be space for the circle to then move into what I call a clump, and to be focused on a problem or a picture, or sometimes the teacher facilitating and writing in a big space to record student thinking. So space seems like something that we just consider at the beginning of the year, but really it's never too late in the year to kind of shift those things around and think about how can I create space space where everyone is valued, everyone is seen, everyone can talk, and feel like this conversation is partly about me and my ideas, and my ideas are as valuable as the next person's.